Hello guys, it's Sam once again. Thank you for joining today's session. If you are new here, um, could you kindly subscribe, like, hit the bell notification for new videos on everything regarding the ePortfolio for psychiatry training, which is called the Portfolio Online. Thank you. In my previous video, I looked at the portfolio in general and tried to explain all the various aspects of the portfolio. If you haven't watched that video, I'd recommend you watch that before you watch this video. Thank you. In today's session, we will be looking at how to create a new training level folder. As I've said in my previous video, for every training level, you would need to create a new folder. This folder contains all your activities that have been logged into the portfolio. It is also very helpful to have a folder, as this makes your portfolio look organized. So let's go straight into it. So if you are a new core trainee, once you sign into the portfolio online, like I have here already, we go to the dashboard. We click on the dashboard tab, and it brings this interface up. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to click on this tab, which is a new training level folder, which is located at the right-hand side. As you can see, my mouse pointer here. So you click on that. Now, I should let you know here that because I'd already been in training, okay, during my core training period, I'd created folders for each level of my training, CT1, CT2, CT3. And because I'm moving on to higher training, when I click on the curriculum level here, it would show ST4, ST5, ST6. I've already created my ST4 training level folder. That's how come you're seeing ST5, ST6. However, for new starters, when you click on this drop-down menu here on the curriculum level, you should be seeing CT1, CT2, CT3. So for CT1, you select CT1. Okay. The next thing to look at would be your specialty. Again, in there you would see psychiatry. So you select that. Okay. For me, because this is more of a higher training folder, I have got the list of subspecialties here, which is irrelevant to you if you're a core trainee. However, if you're a higher trainee new to this portfolio system, you would select whichever subspecialty you are you're currently in. Okay. So for the purposes of this video, I'll select general psychiatry, and then I'll select ST5. The next thing, again, if you're a core trainee, this is irrelevant. However, if you're a higher trainee, there are 3 endorsements, subspecialties that you can do whilst you're in higher training. So that's rehab, liaison psychiatry, and addiction psychiatry. Okay, so we can skip that and move to the start date. So for most of you, the rotation starts on the 4th of February 2026. So you go here, select February 4th of February 2026. Your end date for this, if it's CT1 level or SD4, you come in here and select that. So that will be, for example, select 2027. That'll be if you started in February, that'll be February 2027. So that'll be 1 year period, okay, for your CT1 level. If you're an August starter, you put in the dates here, the August start, and then the end date. So that'll be August 2026 if you're still using this portfolio, to end date August 2027. After that, you click on Create Training Level folder. So after creating it, just so you are able to view that, you go onto the Portfolio tab up here. Click on Portfolio, click on Folders. And there you have it. So as you can see, I created one for ST5, which I wouldn't be needing, so I'll delete this after us. This is going to be for my ST4 rotation. If you want CT3, it would come up CT2, CT1. So this is how it's going to look like once you create the folder. Okay. I'm going to delete this because I'm not in ST5 just yet. Okay, so you can see that ST4. So now that we've created our folder, so for you, it should be CT1. If you're ST4, this is how it will look like. The next thing to do is to create your career entry. Now, your career entry is simply your current placement. So, for instance, if you are in a community team or you are in an adult inpatient setting, you are going to create your first career entry. For core training, most of the posts or all the posts last 6 months. For higher training, it could last a year, but there's a minimum of 6 months placements. So as you can see here, you can on the left side of the screen where my mouse is hovering over, you would see this as new career entry. Okay, so we're going to click on new career entry. It brings up this pop-up box. Now we're going to select core specialty training post. Okay, so you click on that, create a new activity. Now, this is where you're going to fill in your details. Okay, so in the title box, you can override the whatever is in here. So currently it states specialty training post psychiatry. You can override this by typing in there. So you can type the name of your post. So for instance, you're doing adults in patients. Okay. Sorry. So that's very acute adults in patients, right? It could be that you're doing a child and adolescent mental health post. So it's a community post. You could do community CAMS. Okay. Depending on whatever you're doing. If it's a community mental health team, you can just type here community. So if it's adults, just put in there adults community mental health team. Or you could just put here adults community mental health. So the start date of your posting, so assuming this is your first posting, which is going to start in February 2026. So you put there 4th of February 2026. The end date should be August. And the rotations start the changeover for every rotation is the first Wednesday of the month of a 6 month rotation. Okay, so in this case, the first Wednesday here will be the 5th. So that's when your new rotation is going to start. So this would end. So you're going to end on the 4th of August 2026. So that is a 6 month placement. Okay. Now there are tags here. We'll talk about tags later, but there is no need to put in any tag here. Okay. Now for proposed progress plan, in this section, you can fill in a summary of what I used to put there was my personal development plan. Okay, so for instance, in an inpatient setting, you would want to your plan is to for instance, be able to perform a mental state examination, be able to take focused mental or psychiatry history. You want to look at managing acute distress or agitation in an inpatient setting. Okay. Or you want to learn about psychotropic medications in relation to inpatient setting. So this you can agree on with your clinical supervisor, and then you can type them here. Okay, in the proposed progress plan. And then the next is the training level. This is a mandatory field. So you come here, type in, you select CT1. Okay, if you are ST4, you select ST4. Placement specialty. So here for core psychiatry, it would be core. Okay, general is for higher training, general adult psychiatry. But if you're core training, just go for core. Months counted towards training. So over here is a 6 month rotation. Okay, So you put in here 6. It's just a number. Okay, you've got a drop down here, but you can also just type in. So just 6 months. Okay, if you're less than full time, that will be calculated for you when you know how many months you'll be spending in the post. Employment status. So here you state whether you are full time, less than full time, or any other. Okay. So assuming you're doing full time, that's 100%. And in your trust, you go down to the drop down menu. There's a list of trusts. So just locate your trust and then select that. Notes, and it's entirely up to you if there's any information you want to put here, but I barely put anything in there because that's not relevant. Then time out of training, usually if you've been, so these are the things that include or count as time out of training. So if you've been short-term sickness, unpaid or unauthorized leave, compassionate leave, maternity or paternity leave, jury leave, okay. You put that here, that the duration. If you've not taken any time out of training, you just put in 0. Yeah, okay. So that's how it is. Then yeah, you can put in your annual leave. So this is depending on how long you have been working in the NHS. Well, generally for starters, you're entitled to 27 days in a year. Okay. You can decide to split this into 2. So per 6 months rotation. Okay. So in your first 6 months, you can decide to do 13 days. And then in your next 6 months, you can do 14 days or vice versa, however you'd want to split it. But then you're entitled to 27 days of annual leave. Okay. In a year. So assuming I'm taking 14 days, I just type 14, just a number. In the school, so just know which deanery you were in. I'm in the Northeast, so you're in the Northwest. There's a drop-down menu. Just select your school. Job title. Again, this is not a mandatory field, but you could put there a core. You could just put there core specialty trainee. Here, you can just type in here core specialty trainee. Okay, and then your locality could be the hospital name. Okay, so whatever hospital or post or community team you're in, it's got a name. You can just type that in here. And then afterwards, you click on submit. Then there you go. So because I don't want to create a career entry for my portfolio because I might struggle to get that off my portfolio. I haven't submitted it, but I'll show you my previous career entries. Okay. So this is how it comes up. Okay, so for instance, in my CT3, in my first 6 months of CT3, I did a job in crisis and intensive home treatment service. Okay, I'll just click on that. So when you submit that form, we previously looked at, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, title, a date, training level, all that. Okay, this is how it's going to look like. Yeah, good. I'll just go back to dashboard. So you do this for every placement you start. Okay, so for CT1, you just create you just create a new training level folder just for CT1. And then you go to your portfolio again, and then you click on new career entry, and then you select your new post. So for each training level, you have 2 career entries, 2 6 months placement posts. I hope that's understandable. Thank you.